Hi everyone, thanks for joining today's session. Today I like to talk about few acronyms and terminology of AI. Let me start with the first one. First one is about algorithm. What is an algorithm? We have been hearing this word for so many years. I know you know about the algorithm. But anyhow, let me talk something about algorithm. When we say algorithm, here we need to talk about few points. First one is what is algorithm? As we know, algorithm is all about executing instructions by computer to perform some specific task. Here, task means it could be anything. That could be small tasks or bigger tasks. If we like to name few tasks, those could be kind of object recognition or predictive analytics or performing some useful tasks. So a task could be anything. We usually write some specific statements to achieve some results. If we talk about algorithms in basic terminology, it is just like executing some statements and providing some result. So it is very easy. Most of us know about algorithm. But in recent times, we are hearing more about different kind of tasks such as more of object recognition, predictive analytics, or some kind of robotic tasks. Because we are into the era of AI, that's why we are hearing these tasks more often. But it is very simple. Algorithm means it is just a executing some statements by some program and providing results, kind of output, some specific output. Now moving on to the next one. Next one is what is artificial intelligence? Now we will talk about artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? It is very much buzzword nowadays. So first, if we want to say what is artificial intelligence, it is a field of computer science. Usually that allows us to create machines that can do different kind of tasks. So here tasks could be kind of bigger tasks like problem solving, reasoning, and understanding some language and providing different kind of perception. So artificial intelligence covers broader picture. So using artificial intelligence we can enhance ourselves and can target solving bigger problems. This is what artificial intelligence. Next, we are moving on to the next one. That is artificial general intelligence. I think this is the new buzzword. I think you are hearing it now. Artificial general intelligence means it is a kind of new science which is capable of solving different kinds of problems just like us rather than excelling at one specific tasks, which means usually we are kind of persons. If we want to solve a problem, we will go in depth of it and we will try to provide solution for some specific problem. But whereas artificial general intelligence means whereas artificial general intelligence means it can look at different kinds of problems and try to solve all of them. So it is next level of artificial intelligence. Now we will look into the next buzzword, that is chat GPT. Now most of us hearing this word chat GPT. What is chat GPT? Chat GPT, in chat GPT, what is GPT? GPT is generative pre-trained transformer. So if we like to talk much about ChatGPT, ChatGPT says that it is a conversational AI model. It is built based on GPT. So what is the use of ChatGPT? ChatGPT is used for usually creating chatbots and as well as interacting with users in natural language. I think most of us already saw different kind of applications which are using chat gpt. So chat gpt in could be two ways we can achieve it. One thing using voice, another thing using text. So we can interact with the chat gpt applications either using voice or text. Chat or text or voice will be in natural language, and that could be kind of prompts are given to the chat gpt applications. I like to move to next one, which is classification. Classification, I think most of you know what is classification. It is a categorization of various forms of AI based on different features, such as the type of data they process, the tasks they can perform, and the specific techniques or algorithm they employ. So it is more of like classifying. Usually, suppose let's say take one example of vegetables. We have different kinds of vegetables like we usually purchase, right? Suppose if we want to classify it, we will segregate them based on the type of the vegetable. So classification, it is more of segregating the data into different groups based on the type of the data. Now moving on to the next one, that is deep learning. This is very much buzzword nowadays, most of us hearing about it. So what is deep learning? Deep learning is a type of machine learning that uses multi-layered neural networks to extract high-level patterns from data. So what it means? Usually deep learning means, suppose if you look at the data, nowadays we are having huge data which are coming from different sources. For example, from devices. So lot of data is coming into a central storage from different sources. We have the data, but the data does not have any meaning its own. But if we can apply some kind of model, for example deep learning models, onto the data, so those models will analyze the data and will come up with the different patterns. So those patterns are very much useful for predicting what could happen in future. So this is very much useful kind of concept. So in different applications, deep learning model will be used. Next one, moving on to the next one, that is diffusion model. I know this is very new term for you. So what is diffusion model? Diffusion model is all about kind of doing different operations onto the existing images and generating new kind of images. It is more of like doing different kinds of, like applying different kinds of techniques onto the data and coming up with the different unique image. So we use diffusion model for generating images. So it is a model that is used to learn the latest structures of data set by modeling the way data points diffuse through a latent space. This technique can be applied to various tasks such as image generation, denoising, and super resolution. Few examples of diffusion models are Glide and DAL-E3 models. So, in simple terms, diffusion model means it is a model which will generate different kinds of images altogether. Now, moving on to the next one, that is fine tuning. Fine tuning is about like applying different kinds of small changes to an AI algorithm to improve its performance. So I like to talk about one example about fine tuning. Let's say there is a huge data and some AI model is trained onto the data, and once trained, AI model can do some specific operations. Let's say if that AI model is not up to the mark which we expected, then again we will do some kind of training onto the AI model. So here where fine tuning concept will come. Fine tuning means here again doing some changes onto the model, and we will try to make a model more accurate so that it will provide results accurately. That's what fine tuning. Now moving on to the next one, which is GPT. GPT means generative pre-trained transformer model, which is a deep learning language model. What is the use of GPT model? It is used for natural language processing tasks. For example, take the chat GPT. If we want some information, we provide input to the chat GPT applications, and it will provide the response. So you are providing your input in the form of natural language, and you are getting response back from the chat GPT applications. This is the best example for GPT models. So you have application, it will take in terms of prompts. Those prompts could be either voice or text, and those prompts will be sent to the GPT models. GPT models gets the input and analyze the data based on the input, and it will give you response for your query. That's what GPT models does. Now moving on to the next one, which is large language models. This is also kind of new terminology nowadays everyone is using. Large language model is a subset of AI that allows machines to understand and process large quantities of text. Best example for large language models are OpenAI models. Here, large means these models are trained on top of huge data to perform some specific tasks. So nowadays, Google, Gemini models, and OpenAI models are called large language models. They are trained on huge data so that it can provide the results accurately. Now moving on to the next one, which is machine learning. Machine learning is a subset of AI that enables computers to discover patterns in data in order to make predictions or decisions on their own. I know most of you know about machine learning. As I said, it is performs a lot of analysis onto the data and will come up with different kinds of patterns so that it can easily can predict what will happen in future. So that best example is stock market. Suppose let's say if there are a model, machine learning model, if it is trained onto the huge data of some specific stock, then it it can easily say, or it can easily predict what could be the next coming up value in near future, so that it can easily guide us whether we need to purchase that specific stock or not. So here key point is applying analysis onto more kind of data and coming up with different patterns and providing predictions or decisions. Now, next one is responsible AI. Definitely, I know this is the new word for you, but anyway, responsible AI means it is ensures that AI applications are designed in a way that minimizes bias, preserves privacy, and meets regulatory requirements. I think definitely it will confuse you, but I will simplify it. Responsible AI means, let's say there is a AI model, it performs some predictions or some specific tasks. On top of it, we will have responsible layer. What it does is, whenever we provide any input to AI model, first it will filter the input based on some specific keywords. Like if they are violating, check any violations of the input, so that there itself it will filter and it will respond back to users that we should not use this kind of inputs, so that there itself it will apply the kind of privacy, so that meaningful input will go to the AI model and AI model will respond back with the proper response. So it is kind of filter on top of AI model. It will ensure that safety and privacy is applied between user and AI model. Now next one, moving on to the synthetic data. Synthetic data is a artificially generated data that can be substituted for real-time data to train AI algorithms. I think you can easily understand what is synthetic data. Let's say usually bigger companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, they can get huge data because their customer base is huge. But if we once real-time data is over, or if that is not sufficient, then definitely we need to have kind of artificial data. But how to get that data? That's where synthetic data comes into picture, saying that it will provide artificially generated data that can be used to train algorithms, so that we don't need to completely rely on real-time data. Now moving on to the next one, which is transformers. It is a type of neural network that uses self-attention mechanisms to process large sequence of data. So it is kind of mechanisms, it is used for processing large sequence of data. Now moving on to the next one, which is training data. A set of data that is used to help train an AI algorithm so that it can learn to improve its performance. I know you can easily understand what is training data. This data is used for training AI algorithms to improve its accuracy in terms of predicting or providing decisions accurately. Now moving on to the next one, which is workflow automation. This word is very much used in our day-to-day work. Workflow algorithm means it is kind of using of software technologies to automate recurring tasks within a business process so that no need to do same activity again and again. It will ensure that automatically perform same kind of tasks. Now moving on to the next one, which is generative AI. Generative AI is very much buzzword nowadays. Everyone is hearing about it. Generative AI is all about kind of generating new text, images, music based on the existing data. We all have heard so many words so far, but here generative AI means generating new content that could be either text, images, music, and whatnot. It can be any kind of new stream. So it is more of generating everything new based on the existing data. Nowadays, another different kinds of approaches are coming up like RAG architectures. Those those are like even there is no data, it can come up with the new generation of different kinds of content. Now moving on to the next one, which is natural language processing. By looking at this word, I know everyone can easily understand. It is like we usually interact with AI models in terms of prompts. Prompts could be either text based or voice based. So we provide input in terms of natural language, and AI model can easily understand our natural language request and provide the response. That's what natural language processing. Moving on to the next one, which is prompt. Prompt means it is kind of request providing to the AI model, and AI model respond back to us for a given prompt. Here prompt could be in form of voice or text. That's all. Thanks everyone for joining today's session. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. Thank you. Thank you everyone for this opportunity.